Hey everyone, it's me, it's Michael B. I don't have anything prepared note-wise tonight, so this may go off the rails quick. We'll try to have fun. I'm really going to be relying on you guys for interaction tonight because I want to hear your stories too. I really want this to be an interactive conversation where we talk about the idea, or if you already have sold cabs to make room or just sold cabs for any other reason. Hope we have fun tonight. Anyways, guys, thank you so much again for tuning in and hanging out with me. This is Chill and Chat with Michael B. Alright guys, thank you so much. I just want to make sure that my audio is right because a couple of weeks ago I went with the wrong mic on and I watched it back afterwards and I hated it. Okay, we got the right mic on, so yeah, there we are. We're going to take it off the rails. Scott Gray. Also, Scott Gray, you can totally put lettuce, cheese, tomato, condiments, everything on the bottom of the burger. It's totally good. Keeps it cleaner, doesn't go everywhere. Tastes fine, man. So, if you guys have seen the thumbnail, you've seen the conversation, tonight is all about selling arcades. Someone got mad at me earlier. It was Jeff, let me just bring it up here really quickly so I can see. And I should remember this off the top of my head. I'm sorry, guys. Like I said, off the rails already. But it was in the Arcade 1UP Canadian fan page when I posted this and got mad at me at the idea. Jeff Thompson, I knew it was. He said, arcades. You can't say that because arcade is a physical thing. It's either an arcade game, and then I came back with, you could say arcade cabinet, you could say arcade machine, but when I mean selling arcades, the reason why I use that term is because I'm not just talking specifically about selling arcade 1UPs. It could also be selling your atgames Legends Ultimate, could be selling your II arcade, a variant of different arcade machines that you can buy in this home market. I've seen everybody in the chat. I got some feedback that people told me I didn't need to say hello to everybody, but I can't help it so much. I see Bobby Vu there, Conti, Hollywood Polo, Mark Whitman. It's the same people every week, and you guys are awesome. I'm so excited to have you all here. Adam Kalb's here, Zero Hero, Spreads here, Adam 12. I know I can't go on. I gotta keep going back to this. So tonight, yeah, we're talking about selling cabs, and as Adam 12 says, I have already sold my Outrun. Yeah, I have, and I'm going to tell you guys that story tonight. It's not, well, I'll tell you more about it. I'm not going to get into it too much. Dan Z, hello, Dan in St. Louis. I can't sell them. Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I never thought I would either. I remember buying my first couple Arcade 1UP cabinets, and it felt to me at the time that dumping Outrun is a travesty. Best Arcade 1UP cabinet with most mod potential. Bones, wait till you hear why I did it. So, a year ago when I bought these, I thought they would be a lifetime investment and fun. The only way I could see myself getting rid of them is if one had broke, or if one, I became destitute and needed money quickly. Something like that. Don't worry, I'm going to tell you why I sold Outrun. I have a Space Invaders I can let go for 500. So, fast forward to a little over a year, and I ran out of room. And I was forced to make some quick decisions where I decided I was going to sell some of my Arcade 1UP cabinets to make room. Now, I'm going to cheat on this. The reason why I sold them, I sold my Street Fighter and my Final Fight, and I sold my Mortal Kombat 2 and my Rampage, because I was going to consolidate them and get the Legacy Editions. And then I sold my 5th cabinet, my Pac-Man 40th Anniversary, because I was going to upgrade for the Namco Legacy Edition just because it didn't have any scanline filters and it had a better game selection. Plus, those yellowed side panels look more like the real Pac-Man. So I thought that was going to be it. I went out, I bought more. I bought Frogger, Golden Tee, I bought Outrun, and I packed my garage, packed my game room again. I was out of room. Out of room in my Arcade 1UP specific room. So now I'm looking at more new cabinets, and I'm saying, what do? I mean, there's only one option. I either take some of them and leave them in storage, which I'm probably going to do, and I'll come back to that. But the other option is to sell some of them. So, yeah, that's kind of where I'm leaning. And I kind of want to hear from you guys. Devil Waldo says, I've sold one arcade 1-up and I regret it. Yes, that's the other thing we're going to come back to, too. Josephine says, my stand-up Outrun PCB overheated and arcade 1-up never answered my email, so I just returned it. So sad. It was a nice cab. That is really sad. Oh, you're killing me, Mike. I love that wood grain. I love the wood grain on the Pac-Man 40th, too. Yeah, I bought Frogger, so I redeemed. I love Frogger. Mr. Dude 206, how are you, my buddy? Guys, if you like really funny video game stuff, Mr. Dude is your guy. He does stuff like back when the Nintendo 3DS came out, he did Nintendo 3DS unboxing, and his video was just him unboxing 3 Nintendo DSs that he had. This is when the DS first came out. So he does a lot of funny troll stuff like that. He also does some serious videos, pickup, and he also does car videos. So if you're into car stuff, go check out Mr. Dude 206. He's a good guy. Conti says he's sold 3 so far. Oh, Mark, yeah, I'm not supposed to tell people about that, but I should have the Atari Legacy here in a couple days. That leaves me with another problem. I sold my Star Wars stand-up, and now I regret it. Renee Games Jr. says, yeah, that's one I wouldn't be able to sell 100%. Mr. Steven says, I wouldn't sell any cab. Any cab you don't want anymore makes a great mod cab. See, Mr. Steven, that's where I'm a little bit different. I don't have a lot of interest in modding these. At one point, I was going to mod one and make a WrestleFest, but really, like, I've got a multicade arcade upstairs. That's where we're to right now. I've got my Legends Pin, Legends Ultimate, and my II arcade. So anything I really want to play, just play on that. I know I could probably do a mod, and like, if I was going to do a mod of an arcade 1-up, it would probably be a vertical cab and probably do Pac-Man, but not Pac-Man, because we need more Pac-Mans, right? I would probably be Donkey Kong on a vertical cab, but I wouldn't do like one of the ones that's like the 70-in-1 build. That's not what arcade 1-up is to me. I've talked about it. What arcade 1-up is to me is recreations of original arcade cabinets. So he likes wagons. Mr. Dude likes wagons. He buys old wagons and tricks them out. Jolly Green, your average gamer. So I will tell you, last going off, I did the sales to do the conversions to the legacy units, so I still have all those games, but I've never sold anything where I didn't get the games back. That is until just last week, or it was the week before, I actually sold my Outrun. Now, I'm going to give you the story. I bought Outrun secondhand off a guy here locally by the name of Mike Dalton. Mike, I originally met when I was selling off my original wave of arcade 1-up cabinets to replace them for the legacy cabs. He bought a couple of my cabinets and we started talking. He knew me from YouTube and we developed a friendship. So we've been going back and forth. And a while ago, he decided he was going to sell his Outrun. So we negotiated. I went out and bought it. You guys know I did the episode on it. My wife was really unhappy. And I went and picked up from and brought it home. I had it for a little over 2 weeks and then sold it. Now, everybody's going to say, oh my God, like what happened? Did your wife make you do it? No, my wife didn't care that I bought Outrun so much as I bought something without really talking to her about it and like the addiction aspect of it all. That was her problem. So no, that's not why I got rid of the Outrun. Was it the fact that the Outrun, like I said, would drive me nuts where it's so low compared to my arcade where everything else is the same height and I have some kind of weird, I don't know what you call it, some kind of weird fixation on everything's got to be the same, OCD. It did bother me, but no, that's not why I sold it either. Was it that I didn't enjoy it and didn't play it? That's definitely not the case because I actually played a bunch of it. I thought Outrun was a really, really good arcade 1-up cabinet, even though it was on the ground and it was kind of stupid. I'm not going to lie. The OCD thing did bother me a little bit. But I really enjoyed it, and I enjoyed bringing people over, getting them to sit down. The idea of having a driving cab was great. I would prefer they did the driving cab better. It was higher, more comfortable to sit in. But you know what? For what it was, I really enjoyed Outrun, especially getting it used at a really, really good price. What happened was Mike, the guy who sold it to me, wrote me out of nowhere and said, hey, would you give me back my Outrun? And would you sell it back to me? And I could tell he wanted it back, and I'm not the kind of dude to be like, no, man, buyer, seller beware. You want it back now, I'm not going to give it back to you at that price. Mike's a good dude. I like to think I'm a pretty good dude, so when he asked for it back, he gave me a really good deal. I felt pretty bad about, getting it at that price, so when he asked for it back, I sold him it back. It was as simple as that. Dude wanted it back. He was entitled to have it. I've always been that way. Like, if, someone lets something go, you're not like, oh, too bad, I got it now. He wanted it back, so I gave it back to him. But, now that he's got it back, I could take a look at possibly getting the stand-up one if it ever comes here. There's no guarantee, but it is what it is. He wanted it back, so I sold Outrun. And it's probably a good thing I did, because then, a couple, like a week later, Tempest finally became available. And, really quickly here. So I ordered that. And then everybody was giving me a hard time online. They were like, oh, man, your wife's going to kill you. And, yeah. I didn't get into the story of why he wanted it back. I'm sorry. Yeah, Sling Spade. Hold on a second. So Tempest came out, and my wife, I told her immediately. I was like, yes, I just bought an arcade one up. And she was like, oh my God, why'd you do this? And I was like, no, we talked about it. I told you I was going to buy it. The thing was, I told you it was going to be July, which is what I told her. I'm not buying anything else till July. And it came out early. It came out earlier than we thought, so we're totally fine. I've got Tempest coming this week. So why he wanted it back, Mike has a nephew that comes over all the time, and that's kind of why he's into the arcades. He's a big arcade fan himself, but he plays the arcades with his nephew, and his nephew came over and realized the Outrun was gone, and he just wanted it back for his nephew. So I can't blame him. Happy that he got it back. So yeah, and like I mentioned, I paid $550. Mike Dalton, when he bought it originally, he ordered it directly from the U.S. and got it shipped here before it was even available. So, Dreamcast Kyle also did it. So you can tell you how expensive that is. The shipping was like $200, and then it was already $500 US. Do the conversion on that, plus $200 shipping, then plus another $100 for I forget what they call it. Anyways, for example, $3.99 US, my burger time ended up costing me like $8.70 by the time it got here. So I would imagine he spent about $1,000 to get his Outrun here. So $550 for me. It was kind of a steal. So yeah. Marek, I'll keep your room. Yeah, thanks so much, Al. I really enjoy the Legends Pinball. And thank you so much, everybody, for the support on my Legends Pinball review I did this past week. It took me forever to get it done. I was working really hard. I finally got it out, but I did it late on Friday, and I was like, well, this video is going to die. And it didn't do very well the first day, but yeah, it's picked up steam. A lot of people gave me some really positive comments, so yeah, thank you very much. Okay, so here we are. I've sold Outrun, and now I've got Atari Legacy coming, so I'm out of room. But what happens next? I'm already looking at it. Here we are. I'm out of room, and I'm looking at what cabs next could possibly go. Which ones am I not playing that I might move out? And it's funny because I saw someone else in the comments earlier mention Marvel Superheroes. So I have Marvel Superheroes. And ever since I bought X-Men vs. Street Fighter, which has Marvel vs. Capcom as well, I don't play it. I don't play Marvel Superheroes fighting because I can play X-Men vs. Street Fighter, which I prefer that game over Marvel Superheroes. And I can also go online. So I'm not playing the Marvel Superheroes side. I have X-Men Children of the Atom on my X-Men vs. Street Fighter cab. The only game I don't have that I'll miss is Punisher. And, I love Punisher. Punisher is one of the best beat-em-ups of all time. But this is a Marvel Superheroes cab. It's got a cool side art, but, it's... I don't know. I think there's a possibility I gotta make room if I want to get X-Men. I gotta make room if I want to get Killer Instinct. I gotta make room if I want to get Tron. I gotta make room for all these cabs. And the only way to do that, if I want them in my arcade, is to possibly sell something. So now... does Marvel Superheroes stay? That's the question. If it was a Punisher cab, like Punisher artwork, and it was a Punisher dedicated cab, that's my favorite game on the cab, we'd probably be having a different conversation. But where it's that Marvel Superheroes cab, and I don't play Marvel Superheroes all that much, I might let it go. Steve Victoria's here. This is funny because this whole show tonight could be the Steve Victoria show. I talk to Steve all the time, and he has a very definitive space where he only has and Adam, there's the other thing. I can play Punisher on my ALU. Before I get back, I'm going to jump to that. Steve, I'll come back to the Steve story in a second. Here's the thing. If it was a dedicated Punisher cab, I would have a harder time letting go of it. But I'm already playing it kind of in a multicade on the Marvel Superheroes cab. So the experience is not much different than me playing a ROM on my atgames Legends Ultimate. You know what I mean? It'd be different if it was a Punisher cab. Going back to Steve Victoria, I've been talking to Steve for this past year. We've been... Mike, do you think there are cabs being announced at E3 did we not know about? Yes, Slingspade. Thank you so much for the super chat, and I 100% do. Stringer Films, I love Golden Tee, but I'm going to be honest with you, I've had Golden Tee less than a month. It's an amazing cab, but I look at it too, and I'm like, maybe that could be expendable. Not because it's not cool, just because it's not really an arcade game. It's more of a bar game, and I really enjoy it, but I don't know if I'd sell it, but I might move it to a different area of my house, if that makes sense. My MK2 is already toast because of the Legacy Edition. Is Kev? Kev was here. Kev Grit. Hi, Michael B. I'm playing the new Virtua Fighter 5 Ultimate Showdown. Highly recommend. It'll be free starting tomorrow. Oh, cool. Thanks, Mike Hockhurts. So, that's where I'm to. And then, I mentioned I've just bought the Atari Legacy. And, what happens to Centipede now? I have Centipede, so... do I keep both? Do I have room for both? This is where it's tough because the Atari Legacy 12-in-1, beautiful. I'm so excited for it. But Centipede is a vertical game on a horizontal screen, so it's going to be smaller. And I love that Centipede art. So, it's tough. I want to keep them both. I wouldn't know what to do. Yeah, that Stringer Films, that's a different reason. I completely understand that. If you have Golden Tee 2020 and a full-size MK2, yeah, it's a pretty easy thing to let go of your arcade one-up. 4 Konami cabinets coming out, and they've only announced 3. I'll bet it's Lethal Enforcers for Christmas. Maybe. What's the 3? So they've got X-Men, Simpsons, Track and Field. Is there another one? X-Men, Simpsons, Track and Field. You know what's cool? If you join the channel, you become a member of Michael B's OnlyFans. Thank you so much for advertising that, P-dubs. Yeah, Brett, I'm thinking about keeping Centipede. Mark Whitman says Centipede goes. Todd Cottrell says, build a bigger house like the rest of us. Yeah, there's always that option, right? Just build a bigger house. That could be it. The problem with... We'll come back, Zero Hero, remind me about that later. We'll come back to that because Track and Field... TMNT, there it is. TMNT, Track and Field, Simpsons, and X-Men. There's your 4 Konami cabs. Yep, that'll do it. But going back to the 2 cabs I just mentioned, Centipede and Marvel Superheroes, there's another reason you have the good trackball on your Centipede. I know, Brad. More than likely, I'm probably going to put Centipede out into another room in storage, and Centipede can go back and forth. I don't think Centipede will go. Marvel Superheroes, I think I can sell. It looks cool. It's got great artwork on the sides, great artwork on the panel, but I don't find myself playing that as much. Every now and then I'll turn it on to play Punisher. I mean, it's on every time I go in the arcade, but I only turn it on. I only play Punisher on it. Literally. That's it. That's the only game. So with both those games don't have a lit marquee for me. So every arcade in my arcade one-up room all have lit marquees, except Marvel Superheroes, and Centipede. And I've been waiting patiently for Arcade 1-Up to update their website, waiting for that announcement, that notice, because I've got the notify thing tapped for the Centipede official Arcade 1-Up light up marquee and for the Marvel Superheroes. And I have a sneaking suspicion those products are never going to come out. I think maybe some support to the older stuff is kind of done at this point, and they're thinking in the future. So I don't know if I want to keep something if it doesn't match the rest of this, my OCD again. I have Arcade 1-Up official light up marquees on every other cabinet. So, hey, thank you so much, P-Dubs. You are the best, man. I appreciate it. I have light up marquees on every other cabinet. And if I can't get them for Centipede and Marvel Superheroes, do they stay in my arcade? I don't know. So there's a good chance they'll probably go. What about you guys? Is there anything that you know 100% you have in your arcade currently? And if you need space, you need to drop them out. Al, I actually don't know anything else more than what we've already been told. I have a sneaking suspicion that there might also be a Smash TV cabinet, one with Robotron and Total Carnage on it. Other than that, I don't know. I don't know anything else. Everything that I knew is out there right now, I think. Star Wars is key. Well, obviously, Star Wars is never going anywhere. Star Wars is my favorite arcade 1-Up. Break it down and store it. I do that with my 1-Ups and rotate them. That's an option. That's an option. I'm lucky enough I have an empty storage room, which is my old game room. It's not empty, but there's room in it where I could put like 1 or 2 cabs that could be an overflow space. My wife would be mad, but I think she'd be okay as long as I'm not buying as rapidly as I have been. Got to keep 1 to 2 games on the bubble. Yeah. I would love to build. I saw someone in the Arcade 1-Up fan page today built this massive long, because like what I like about my game room is it's long and narrow, and you can see the 2 rows of arcades going down. So this guy built this like long shed out in his back of his yard, and you could just see the 2 long stretches of arcades going down each side. I would love to do that. Yeah, I'm going to keep Star Wars. Space Invaders needs to go. It was cheap, so I bought it. I almost bought Space Invaders there a couple weeks ago. If I need space, the countercade shelf unit goes, then the kids. That'll free up 2 rooms. My recliners are next. I already did that. That was one of the first things that went. In my old game room, I was out of space, and I had couch and love seat, and I was like, they're toast. That was the first thing that went. Conti says he sold his Galaga. It's hard not to sell Galaga. I mean, that artwork is iconic. I would be heartbroken about that, but I mean, there's so many other ways to play Galaga on an Arcade 1-Up. It's an iconic cabinet that you'd buy just for the art, but I need to make room for Tron. You can always move the wife out and make more room. I would part with Marvel Superhero Cab, not playing as much like you. Yeah. So going back to Steve Victoria, I don't know if I told this whole story. Steve, we've been going back and forth for a year, talking about Arcade 1-Up a lot. And he's got a very defined space, and he's got a very defined want for his arcade. And he's constantly doing it. Like, every time I talk to him, he's got one sold, and he's going on to the next one. Then he's doing something else. I remember that he actually paid. He's the only guy in Canada that has the Miss Pac-Man that also has Galaxian and Dig Dug on it. Because in Canada, we only got the HSN one, but he actually got one from Wayfair and paid extra to get his version of Miss Pac-Man here. Steve's a huge Arcade 1-Up fan, but he's got a defined space, and he's constantly selling ones. Like, one of the funnier things that happened this year is he sold TMNT and to make room for other cabs. Then like a week later was like, oh man, I really wish I didn't sell TMNT. Then went and bought it back off somebody else. Probably going to sell my Miss Pac-Man cocktail cab. Takes up too much space and rather just have stand-up now that I've had it. Yeah, the cocktail cabs are bit of a weird choice unless you have a specific need for them. Like, I want atgames to make a cocktail cab. Cocktail is one where I have I don't have a lot of nostalgia for a certain game on a cocktail, so I've been at PK and anybody in atgames that'll listen to me about making some kind of atgames related cocktail cabinet, and I'm not getting anywhere with it. I think I'm going to have to buy Legends Connect and make it myself. A Tron, Dragon's Lair, Robotron. Yeah, see, this is the thing, too. Like, some people don't realize, like, you just buy everything. But, like, there's arcade collectors that have very, like, real arcade collectors that have very definitive... I wouldn't sell my Burger Time. Burger Time, this is where I'm going with this. Burger Time isn't going anywhere because of how it looks. Unless they make a Burger Time that has maybe a better selection of games that all work better with the vertical screen and tighter controls and a more realistic side panel shape, my Burger Time's not going anywhere. That thing is beautiful. And in my arcade, as much as it's a place to play games, it's also a place where I go for the atmosphere and I go to look at the cabinets. And Burger Time puts a big smile on my face, so it's not going anywhere. Even if I didn't play it that much, it's not going anywhere. I'm hanging on to my Burger Time. Marvel Limited. See, if I had gotten Marvel Limited, we might be having a different conversation, because here in Canada, it was actually pretty easy to get Marvel Limited as long as you went and you bought it from the Brick. They had it in stock in their store. The only problem was the Brick wasn't here, and I was fighting with the Brick, trying to get them to ship it to me. They wouldn't ship it to me, and I didn't wait, and I bought the regular standard Marvel Superheroes cabinet. And then come 6 months later, the Brick did show up, and they still had Marvel Superheroes Limited left. So sell the Frogger. It doesn't even have the original music. Alfred, I hear you, and I'm going to do a review on Burger Time, and I will tell you 100% why I still have it in my arcade and why I was so excited for it. I can't help it. I know it has different music. I know that the artwork is wrong. I know that the screen has a filter on it, but I still love Frogger. I can't help it. I think Tron was one of the most iconic atmospheric games of my youth, but it needs heavy bass sound and blacklights. Yeah, I'm waiting to see what the final product is like on Tron. Tron will be 100% a purchase for arcade atmosphere and look, because I'm not huge on Tron game-wise. No, I'm not selling Frogger. I like Frogger a lot. I've been playing Frogger probably more than anything else for the last little while. I'm still terrible, but I really like Frogger, and I really like Time Pilot. But like I said, I buy the cabs for the one game, so I'm going to keep Frogger. I'm sorry, guys. Maybe down the line, I will get rid of Frogger, but for now, I'm kind of in love with Frogger. Frogger makes me so happy. It's so stupid. I love it. So what cabinets am I selling? I don't know yet. Teaser image looks like it has black lights. Yeah, I guess. See, this is the thing, and that was the thing about Steve Victoria. I'm all over the place. I should have made notes. I just didn't have time. Today's been a crazy day. I've been, the last 3 days, working on getting my patio cleared up. If you guys follow me on social media, I pressure washed my patio on Saturday to get it ready to stain. And I noticed that I had some boards I had to replace. And I was lazy, and I was like, well, I'll just paint it this summer because lumber costs $1 million, so I don't really want to replace anything. I'm sure I could just paint it over with some stain, and it'll be fine. So I go to the store, get my stain, I get ready to get started, and I walk out on my patio, and my leg just goes right through the patio board, and I go down. Luckily, like, I felt like a gash, and I was like, oh my god, I'm sure my leg's bleeding, but I escaped without a scratch, so God bless that. But I went through the patio, made my wife laugh, whatever. So then I had to replace that piece of board. I take it all off, replace it. Then I finally got to staining, and I spent the last 2 days, full days, staining my patio, and then finally it's done. And I finish around 4 o'clock. I've been trying to lift some weights so I feel a little bit better. So I did that, and by the time I got everything done, then I got home, and I actually was just on a wrestling podcast with some local guys here. I did a hour and a half wrestling podcast before this, so I've been everywhere, and I didn't get a chance to make my notes for this, so I apologize for being all over the place. Stringer Films, grab some waterproofing. Yeah, I'm fine, but man, what a weird feeling, just feeling your leg go through the patio, and you just start falling. It was just, big enough for my leg to go through, so, no. Thanks for the super chat, by the way, Stringer Films. Buy an atgames dimming. So, yeah, that's the thing, if you just want to play games, just grab a multicade. So easy, but then again, you might just want to play them on an arcade one-up. I'm not going to judge anybody. Do what you want to do. Mark, have a good night, brother. So yeah, I don't know what ones I'm selling. I might sell. It all depends. Did I watch AEW last night? Oh, did I ever? AEW was pretty fun last night. A lot of fun matches. That's what we just did on the wrestling podcast. We reviewed it. The guys that we're on with were pretty not AEW fans. But, I like AEW. AEW reminds me of WCW, and it's just something different, so it's fun. I just have fun with it. Oh, I can't tell you everything that happened, Polo. So yeah, that guys, that's where I'm too. I'm thinking about possibly selling some cabinets, but there's been times where I've regretted it. You asked me, I regret selling my Final Fight cabinet. I knew I would. I knew the minute I sold it, I was going to regret selling my Final Fight. So that's the other question I wanted to ask people. Lucky you didn't... I know, right? Honestly, there's some pretty big arteries in your legs. You could be in big trouble. Would you sell any of the one-up pinballs for space if you hook up all the games on OTG on Legends? That's a good question. That's a really, really, really good question. I don't know. I really like my arcade one-up pinballs right now. They serve a purpose, but maybe I got excited. I got excited that they were available and I could get them all, and I went out and bought them. And maybe down the line, I'll look at it and the luster will kind of wear off on the pinballs, and maybe I'll be more interested in adding more arcades. That's possible. Still some cabs to pay for a new deck. Oh no, I don't do that. I will never get rid of my Final Fight. Oh, Steve, we did talk about you, brother. I gave everybody the 10-cent tour of what arcades are you selling, Mike? Well, I've sold 6 so far. Something I never thought I would do a year ago. I sold Final Fight, Street Fighter 2, Mortal Kombat, Rampage, Pac-Man 40th, and just recently sold Outrun. And looking to make space in the future, I'm probably going to sell Marvel Superheroes. That's kind of where I'm leaning. And I will probably, Centipede I'm on the fence about, because I am getting the Atari 12-1, so I don't know. Yeah, Adam Cal mentions the P-Dubs I Hate Monday show is coming up after this. Guys, go check P-Dubs out after this. I'm sure you will be. My buddy P-Dubs. Oh, also, thank you so much for everybody that came and watched our first episode of Super Game Room Dudes on our dedicated channel. I really, really super appreciate that. If you haven't yet, go subscribe to the channel. Check us out there Friday nights. Have you been using Steam BYOG on the ALP? No. I need time. I'm so overwhelmed by it. I have my Vibs board that I got from atgames. I'm really excited about it, but I just need time to understand how pinball's going to work and then get it set up. Also, I got to figure out how to do it from this. This is the computer that I bought, and the idea was I would put it out, but I'm thinking actually now I might need a dedicated PC just for pinball, so that's what I'm thinking about. You can buy the countercades. We'll sell you the much-needed room. Yes, and selling any NES cardboard. We'll talk, Chris Roberts. We'll talk offline. Maybe I'll get another gem here like that Donkey Kong manual, Donkey Kong Jr. Math manual I sold you all those years ago. You can buy countercades. So, yes, I could buy countercades. I'm going to be honest with you. Countercades have never been really my cup of tea. I don't know. It's an option. I know a lot of people do that. They'll pick up, like, they won't get Space Invaders. They'll like, oh, I'll just get the Space Invaders Countercade, and that's good enough for me. Yeah. I don't think Countercades is something I'll buy. Something I have been buying is the Numbskull. Numbskull sent me a Miss Pac-Man quarter arcade, and dedicate the PC for pinball. That's what I'm going to do. Not this PC, because I need this for video editing and what I'm doing right now. So I'm going to get another PC for pinball. Yeah, Meatball Saucy, thanks for jumping in. I want the TMNT Countercade. Yeah, 100%. Dan Freeman, yeah, we kind of have the same opinion. That's a bummer, man. I still want Outrun, but waiting for the price to drop. I have 3 arcades, one in stock, with modded Frogger and Space Invaders. Yeah, there was a Frogger Countercade. Apparently it didn't sell very well. And then they reskinned it to Galaga and sold it for $50. I will tell you, I really like NBA Jam, but NBA Jam is another one I look at and I'm like, maybe I will sell it. Honestly, my NBA Jam, I really like it, and when I get in a mood, I can play NBA Jam nonstop. But if I go down and look at my Arcade 1-Up cabinets and look at the ones that have the most dust on their deck protectors, it's NBA Jam. I don't know what it is, but it's almost like it can be a chore sometimes to play NBA Jam, and it's fun. It's really fun, but those rubber band physics and the excitement of playing online, like, I thought I'd be spending a lot more time online with friends. Like, I wasn't going to buy NBA Jam originally, but I got it because all the rest of the Super Game Room dudes, and I thought we were going to be regularly playing, but we never play. So, it loses some of its mystique. Every now and then I'll get a message from, like, Mario Arena recently wrote me and we had a game, and I've played against a Garage Gamer before, and, like, when that stuff happens, I get really excited and really happy I have NBA Jam. But other times, I mean, it's four-player cabinet. It takes up a lot of real estate, so I don't know, guys. This stuff is so hard. The idea of this addiction that we have about buying these Arcade 1-Up cabinets and having to get the new ones, eventually you're running out of space, and what do? I mean, you got to look at what Steve Victoria did. Steve Victoria has a very dedicated amount of space that he can use, and it's a constant rotation with him buying and selling different Arcade 1-Ups. So what happens is you buy it, you enjoy it for a while, and then you sell it to finance your next purchase. And it reminds me of the old days where they used to have this, like, someone asked Arcade 1-Up one time about a buyback program. And it's funny, now that there's this massive chip shortage, they might rethink their answer, because originally they said, we have no interest in doing a buyback program. But now, I mean, there's chips out there. It might be a good idea for you to do a trade-in program. Remember video game trade-in programs? Like, if you didn't like your game, you could just trade it in for something else they have on the shelf for $7 or something like that. Maybe there's a space there or some kind of option there. Might the same thing happen with the X-Men cab as with the NBA Jam cab? What do you think? It depends on what you like. Like, NBA Jam is fun, but I'm the kind of dude, like, I love beat-em-ups. I play beat-em-ups more than anything else. Like, I go down to my arcade, and I'm looking at Golden Axe, I'm looking at TMNT, I'm looking at Punisher, even though I said I'm probably going to sell it, I'm looking at Final Fight, and those are the games I come to. If I want to just completely forget about what I'm doing, de-stress, and just play something where I'm just having fun and there's no pressure, it's a beat-em-up. Even on the atgames Legends Ultimate, like, there's thousands of different games I can play, and I turn it on, I'm playing Sunset Riders, I'm playing X-Men, I'm playing Simpsons. Like, this is the stuff I do. I love beat-em-ups. I'm that guy. And when people say there's not much replayability, I'm like, I get tons of replayability out of the beat-em-ups. I love them. I enjoy them. Yeah, I mean, you either have the option of You either do exactly that, sell and buy. Do what Retro Ralph was doing, have storage units with hundreds of cabs and storage units. If I run out of room, the first cab to go is my wife's Super Pac-Man. I don't blame you there. Very, very sneaky is another option. I know, and guys, like, there's options out there. Apparently these Arcade 1-Up PCBs can be hacked, and I mean, if you want to do multi-cage, you can. But, again, Legends Ultimate, I wouldn't need to. Like, the only one you would need to with is if you wanted to do, like, Outrun. You could flash that and then, put other driving games on it. That would be a fun option. Well, yeah, like, honestly, what we should do is, guys do this locally. They have, like, dedicated groups where they all collect and share stuff. Like, any of you guys watch John's Arcade on YouTube? John's Arcade is one of my favorite channels. Like, it's tough. Oh, I didn't get to that part yet. Well, I did, but then I left it because I don't have my notes to keep me grounded tonight. I enjoy building them. I do too. I like building them. I don't know what it is. Like, I get so excited about the build. I almost enjoy that as much as playing them sometimes. Like, I'm so excited for my Atari Legacy to get here and put it together. Super Pac-Man is a nice cab. The only thing is, I do wish that they put the divot in there. So, yeah, regret. I talked about it. I regret selling my Final Fight because, I don't know, I just don't find... I miss the artwork. I know they were never going to come out with a light-up marquee. That's why it was easier to let it go, but I miss the artwork, and, I find it doesn't control as well on the Legacy unit. I don't know why. Like, it's got a better screen, better audio, but, yeah. Yeah, he disappeared for a little bit and then came back, but if you look at his stuff, they got a bunch of friends, and they all collect arcades and pinballs. And it's a hobby they all share together. They'll go over to one person's house, they'll go over to the other person's house, and all their machines seem to rotate through the same group. And it's kind of like if I lived around a bunch of other people that also collected arcade 1-ups, maybe that's an idea we could get. Like, I mentioned I sold Outrun back to Mike Dalton earlier. But here's the thing. There's not a time where I couldn't probably message Mike and be like, hey, Mike, do you mind if I come down and just play Outrun for a bit? He'd be like, yeah, man, totally. Or even if I wrote him and I said, would it be cool if I borrowed Outrun to shoot some video on it? He'd be fine with that too. Like, you know what I mean? Like, maybe there's some way that we can work with each other to share our limited space together. So are you hyped to get a Simpsons? Chris Robert, that's an interesting question. I am and I'm not. Because as much as I'm a proponent of, these being recreations of the original cabinets, which should be a slam dunk, I am a little irritated with the games they put on the cabinet. Like the Simpsons bowling game they're going with. I was kind of hoping for some other classic Konami beat-em-ups to be on there. So, a little irritated, but, I mean, come on. I'm going to get Simpsons. Before I say that, though, it depends, because there's supposed to be these massive price increases, so it all depends. Like, if Simpsons comes to Canada, but it's $8.99, yeah, I might have enough arcade cabinets as is. Are we going to be getting the atgames Legends pinball accessories here in Canada? Depends on which accessories you're talking about. If you're talking about the Vibs board, which I have right here, that accessory, send me an email and I can hook you up. Right? Conti sees it. I just don't get the ideal of having a full arcade. Well, that's not for everybody. For some people, just having a single multicade, totally fine. You can either have an atgames Legends Ultimate, your own build, or just, mod an arcade 1-up. Like what Detroit Love did is actually incredibly smart. Detroit Love has a vertical Street Fighter modded to play vertical games, and then he has a Galaga modded to play, horizontal games on the Street Fighter, vertical on the Galaga. And pretty much he can play everything with really good ways that way. As long as you don't mind a multicade and having controls on those other things, boom. The nostalgia is playing the games. That's right. Why doesn't Final Fight run as good on the Legacy cabs? I just don't like the way it controls. Like, the control panel's too tight. And, the height issue I talked about. Strongly considering an II arcade. Yeah, II arcade is cool, but I will tell you that I mainly enjoy my II arcade for games that aren't historically classic arcade games, if that makes any sense. I play Dead Effect, surprisingly, and I play Ease. That's the kind of stuff I really like. I don't know where John's Arcade is now. John's Arcade, he came back to YouTube, made a big return, filmed a bunch of videos, and then in one of his live streams, broke his camera. And all the footage that he had for the videos that he put out, I think he had already filmed early. So I think the broken camera might have sunk him. Hopefully he's back. I mean, I love John's Arcade. Like, it's just long form and just him talking, but it's entertaining. And I love watching him go to real arcades and learning about all these arcade machines that I probably didn't know about, learning a little bit about the arcade history. Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, you guys know, I did a big chill and chat there a couple weeks ago about possibly getting Buck Hunter. I was like, you know what, Buck Hunter's going up in price tomorrow. I don't know if I want to get it or not. What do you guys think? But I went over to this guy Mike Dalton's house, and I played Buck Hunter at his house, and I realized it's not for me. So that actually saved me from going to buy them. So that's the other cool thing about having these communities where we can talk to people, and, you know, if someone has something, you can kind of test it out. And that's the other thing I like about the Brick, too. You can go to the Brick and test some of these cabs out before you buy them. I mean, think about it. Like, how much money we drop here in Canada. I just dropped $680 with tax on Atari Legacy, and I haven't even tried it. I have no idea how good it's going to be other than watching a couple of reviews. Luckily, everybody tells me it's fantastic. I know Jennifer Yabutt, Philly Chick on YouTube, screen is too small on Buck Hunter. That's not the only thing. It's a little low, too. Every single arcade 1-up is a multicade. 100%, I actually do agree with that. Every single arcade 1-up is a multicade. I usually am more interested in playing the game that the cabinet art is based on, and maybe it's just some kind of weird optics things, but that's what sticks out to me. Oh, yeah, but Chris, you assume that we can actually access arcades here. I do have a friend of mine by the name of Chris Kelly that has some arcade cabinets, and he's actually got a bunch of pinballs. And he's actually fixing these machines and working as an operator now. So I've talked to him a little bit. I'm going to do some stuff. Try eating chicken wings and having a beer while playing Buck Hunter for the full experience. Yeah, that's the other thing. Buck Hunter's a bar game. It's not an arcade game. It's a bar game. It's a bar arcade game. Golden Tee kind of fits into the same process too. That's why very good product for arcade 1-up, because they can sell a lot of them because people remember having these at the bar, so now they want them for their downstairs bar. Yeah, that's crazy, right? I saw that this week. The GRS spinner doesn't work on the new Tempest Legacy cab. Apparently they've changed the output, but I've heard from an inside source that P-Dubs may be coming to the rescue and may be sending something to Glenn to help him out so we can get moving on getting a new free spinning spinner for the Tempest Legacy cabinet or the Atari Legacy cabinet. Trying to start a Facebook 1-up group from Minnesota. Yeah, that's the idea. Like, I live on an island, so it's tough. Like, I don't know how many big fans there are arcade 1-up here. So I would love to know. But if you can get a group of like-minded people together and share space, you can do it. Conti, did you buy Buck Hunter after? I know that you were eyeing it there. Yeah, that's true, Mike Hawk. Golden Tee is great, but it is no Neo Turf Masters. I do love Neo Turf Masters. No, well, the only time I will say an arcade 1-up is blurring the lines with a multicade, it's like on these 12-in-1s. Like, if we want to really get into it, you get into a situation where the controls don't really make sense for the game. You're trying to make it work on that cabinet. So this is 100% the example. In instances where you have vertical games on a horizontal screen or horizontal games on a vertical screen, and you're making sacrifices to screen size to fit it on there, that kind of bleeds into the world of multicades. I mean, if it works, it works. That's fine. But when you have to do weird different configurations with the buttons, like even missile command, like the missile command buttons are all messed up, that's bleeding the lines with multicades. It's kind of that gray area. The fact that it has one dedicated artwork and kind of a theme takes it out of that. And yeah, I don't know. That's up for you to decide. I mean, that's in the eye of the beholder, but that's just my take on it. X-Men vs. Street Fighter is a great arcade one-up cabinet. I mean, in terms of a fighter, it's a fighter that's really good, really fun, and the online aspect, Defender on Rampage, what a nightmare. You are not kidding, brother. I tried. I bought that cab specifically to play Defender, and it was so frustrating. Have you gotten an arcade cab that you think the gameplay is too hard? No, that's the challenge. I love the challenge on that. Is there one where I'm just like blown away and I'm like, no, and there's not a single one, Chris. Like everything I play, Donkey Kong's a lot harder than people think. People romanticize Donkey Kong. Wait until Arcade 1-Up actually puts one out, or if you buy your own. Donkey Kong rule hard. Excited for the rumored Simpsons Tapper game. I've never played that, so that's a ROM hack, right? That's not a real arcade game. It's a ROM hack. And I got a feeling, too, on that Simpsons arcade game, much like they're kind of alluding to that there's going to be a console Battletoads game on Killer Instinct. I think there's a possibility we might be getting a console Simpsons game on that Simpsons cab, too. I don't know if we'll get an NES game. Like, I don't think you'll get Bart versus Space Mutants. But I wouldn't be surprised to see something like Krusty's Super Fun House or something like that on there as well. Oh, yeah. Ghosts and Goblins is tough. I can get to the second level. Yeah, that's it. I just want to hear you say hard. Ghosts and Goblins is hard. Very hard. But you know what? I can get as far as I can usually get in the NES game. And, like, there's no difference. And that's one of the things. Like, there's a huge difference between when you're used to playing a game with a controller compared to playing with an arcade stick. So, yeah, Sling Spade knows what I'm talking about. Man, it is tough. Like, I'll throw. I haven't played an original arcade Donkey Kong in probably 20 plus years, but the only time I've played the actual arcade version is on my atgames Legends Ultimate, and I don't know if there's issues with the controls where it's an 8-way stick, but man, that's tough. I think it will be a console Simpsons game instead of Tapper. Could be. I think we're only going to get 2 named games on that Simpsons cab, Mike. That's my guess. I hate when they put console games on it. Yeah, but like I mentioned, when I was on One Up Weekly in the comments there on Friday, Justin was there by himself, and he actually did a tool test, and he asked the fans in that show if they cared if console games were on the arcade one-ups, and 50% of the fan base on that show, and they're more dedicated arcade one-up fans, were all, yeah, we want to see console games. So that was surprising, right? Yeah, another sports one-up cab would sell really well. And, I mean, there's a big craving from the fan base. For NFL Blitz. So I think it's only a matter of time we'll get Blitz. Use save states. Well, there's always that option. Toy Shock 729. Yeah, we can talk about that. That was a surprise. I'm going to tell you that 729 is better than I thought it was. When I originally heard the pricing, it was $7.99. I think because the Canadian conversion got better, that's the reason it went down. I'm still surprised. I think that price is a little high for the Toy Shock, but we'll see. Mike Kirks, I don't mind console games on the 1-ups as long as they're hidden and not featured on the kick plate. I think what rubbed me the wrong way about X-Men vs. Street Fighter and Marvel vs. Capcom is really the difference between those cabs shouldn't... Like, I don't like that Arcade 1-Up did that. I don't like that Arcade 1-Up sold those cabinets with different game lineups on each one. I know that it makes sense because you can sell multiple. But even like the Miss Pac-Man they sold, I mean, sell one version with different skins and let people choose the skin, but have the same game lineup. It bothers me that in order for me to get Marvel Superheroes and Marvel Superheroes versus Street Fighters online, I have to buy a second cab. I mean, that should have just been one cab and just different artwork, and people could choose the artwork. I know they're doubling their return on investment, but that just seemed funny to me. And that's what made it so bad, is there was other games that totally could have went on both those cabinets, but instead they took up a spot with the console games. Adam 12 says he loves that the Arcade 1-Up has the Super Star Wars games. Like, I'm totally weird on that. Like, I don't want to play console games at all on an arcade cabinet. I want to play console games on a console. Something I 100% agree with and this bleeds into arcades too, but something I agree with Unqualified Critics, David. He likes playing on original controllers. Like, if I play a SNES game, I don't want to play with an Xbox One controller. I want to play with a Super Nintendo controller. I want to play in its original form, so that's what I try to do. And then with console games, I want to play with as original as a controller as I can, and on a TV. Like, I just got one of these. Huge thanks to Restalgia. I got an Abernick. Both Restalgia and Cool Toy did reviews on these. These are awesome. And you can play everything. And Restalgia was telling me, like, you can play Dreamcast, you can play, Saturn. And I was like, I don't care. I literally have this so I can play Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Gear, maybe some Game Boy Advance. Like, I bought this to be a portable emulation machine because it looks just like a Game Boy and I can play it just like a Game Boy. I'm never going to play Dreamcast on this, ever. I'm going to play Operation C mostly. So, that's just where I come from. I'm going to play console games on a console. I want to play portable games portably. And I'm going to play arcade games on an arcade. I don't like playing arcade games on a Raspberry Pi with a controller. Yeah, and see, that's the thing. Unless we get a dedicated cab, we're never going to get a correct Defender. I'm here now. The party can start. Yeah, I know. I usually start an hour later, Don. I've been going a little earlier for the last little while. I saw someone made an MK11 arcade machine. Ralph did. Retro Ralph did like a year ago. He turned an arcade one up into a Mortal Kombat 11 machine, I think it was. I get that. I'm controller agnostic on this one particular... Yeah. Yeah, and Meatball. I get it. I got a friend, Chris, and back in the old days, I remember him playing Mega Man 1. He did a live stream of him playing Mega Man 1, and he played it on an NES Vantage, and I was like, you're a madman. But, if that's the way you played and that feels comfortable to you, more power. It's just not for me. Have to catch the rest of the chat later. Well, Steve, I'm probably going to be leaving now. Anyways, guys, I'm at that point again where, unfortunately, I'm out of room. There's a bunch of cabinets coming up that I want, and I'm going to ask myself the question, do I sell some of these cabinets maybe? Are there cabinets that are less important to me because additional parts aren't going to come out, like lit marquees, or I'm just not playing them as much and I don't want them to take up space in my overflow? Plus, if I sell them, I can get a little bit of seed funding for the new cabinets on top of making space. So that's where I'm to. I'm possibly going to sell some cabinets, but I am really afraid that I'm going to regret it. I'm going to regret that I don't have a playable version of Punisher down in my Arcade 1-Up, arcade recreation. I really like Punisher. With Tempest Legacy, sure, I can play Centipede on that, but it's not in the correct screen format, and it doesn't have that amazing Centipede art. So it's a tough one. You guys let me know. What do you guys do? Do you guys sell your cabs to make room for other cabs? Let me know. figure out which wall to knock down. I wish it was that simple. I got a bathroom and I got a laundry room. And with all the extra wiring and plumbing, it's no knocking it down. I was looking to pause Final Fight. It doesn't play as well. No, it does. I just don't like the controller on it. And I find since it switched to the multi-K buttons, I have a harder time doing the special when I need to. Yeah, Al, you're not wrong. And that is the answer, is to build an extension. Yeah, Mitchell B, thanks for telling people that. Remember, guys, hit the like button. Love to get a kiosk for the arcade. Sell, trade, raffle. Anyways, guys, thank you so much. I think P-Dubs is starting or has already started, so I'm going to let you go. Go check out P-Dubs. This is Michael B. the Game Genie. Thank you very much for watching. And we'll see you on Super Game Room Dudes on the new channel this Friday. See you guys.